Big bounce back spot for Big Blue Nation, playing host to Loyola, Maryland. The Greyhounds are coming to town in a classic cats versus dogs battle. Let's talk about this Kentucky team, man. It just seems like a lot of unfortunate noise is coming out right now. I mean, we talked about this on the morning after live show. Mark Pope seems dejected in post-game press conferences. This strong perimeter trio with Otega Owe, Colin Chandler, Denzel Aberdeen is not playing up to par against high major competition right now. The front court's a bit of a mess. They don't know what their rotation is. It seems like they're grasping to find an identity. I don't think that's an exaggeration at all, just when you look at them getting smacked by Michigan State and giving up upwards of 30 open jumpers. You see them getting smacked by their hated rival. And now, granted, they made a nice little Fugazi run to make it close, but you don't get bonus points for that. Saying that as a Carolina fan who watched my team make a little Fugazi run after every time they got down by 20 last year. It's not fun, Kentucky fans. It's not real. Don't let that sway you. If you're upset, go ahead and let it out. Let all the venting come. But that being said, they play a really bad team in Loyola, Maryland, a team that's gotten smacked by Towson, lost a close one to NJIT. No idea what that even stands for, and got beat pretty good by Duquesne their last time out as well. Dion, where are you at with Big Blue Nation and the Wildcats right now? Have you pressed the panic button? Do you think it's a little overblown? Do you think this team is better than they've shown so far? And is there any hope?
I mean, I definitely think there's always hope as long as you got Pope.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're good there, but it's tough, man, because you're missing JQ, and I don't want to what I don't want to do is completely overreact to what's going on because like I said, man, you're missing JQ. That feels like a pretty important piece. Um, Now, when you recruited JQ, you knew you would be missing JQ at the same time, right? So I think you have to understand that element of it. But I do what I've learned through these first few games is this team goes as he goes. He's the defensive engine. Respectfully to everybody on offense, I do think they need him his individual creation as well. Obviously, he's not like a knockdown shooter or I think he can pass the ball. I don't think he's like second coming of Vlade Divac by any means, but I think he can pass the ball. This team doesn't have a lot of dudes. So I we said this on the morning after, or excuse me, I said I don't want to lump you into this one in case people hate it, but I said it on the morning after. I said it looks like Mark Pope took $22 million dollars with the intention of going to buy a Lamborghini, was told no, and he spent the same $22 million dollars at a Toyota dealership. And that's honestly what this roster looks like to me at this point. JQ might be the missing link to make them a Lamborghini, though.
See, that's where I still push back, even while they're like, we don't know when JQ is coming back. I know he's really good. I know a lot of mocks still have him top 10, top five, even. I just don't think he's the magic bullet to fix all these issues. And at this point, it's like you got the guys who are in the locker room right now, you got the guys who are taking the court. They have to be the ones to take some sort of the onus to move toward a change. And even with this game in particular, I don't really care who the leading scorer is. I don't really care how well they shoot from three. It's a Mark Pope team. They're going to find their groove from beyond the arc eventually, and you're probably going to start penciling them in from anywhere to like 9 to 15 made threes on any given night. That's what they roll into the gym and they give you. I'm more concerned do they look connected? Do they communicate on defense? Like this is a team in Loyola, Maryland, where their best player, Jacob Theodosiou, have no idea if I'm saying that right, but he's averaging 17 a game. He's made two threes all season. He's shooting like 14% from three. Braden Speed, they're starting two guard, 5 for 20 on the year against D1 competition. Like, this is another team where if they scout them the same way they did Michigan State, where it's like, oh, this team can't shoot, therefore we're just going to leave them wide open, probably won't get burned, but I will be watching for that. Like, I don't care that this team can't shoot. I want to see closeouts. I want to see communication. I want to see the defensive lapses at least take some strides toward being fixed. That to me is the most important thing that we will glean from this game. Does this still look like a team that is together, or is it a divided locker room, or is all of this panic warranted or not? And because you're not going to learn anything about how good Kentucky is when they win this game by somewhere between 25 to 35 points. Like most high major power conference teams that are top 30, top 40 in the country can win a game like that. But what I do want to look for is, do they actually play hard? Is there someone who is showing they care? Is Pope gonna show a little bit more of his offensive playbook, or is he gonna keep it vanilla? Like those are the things that don't always show up in the box score that I really want to see from watching this game.
Yeah, I mean, I digress on the Pope stuff. I his offense seems to be a little overblown to me.
It has not been good this year for his
Oh,
standards. Let me rephrase that. It's not been very good against high major competition, and it has not been like this well-oiled machine that I think we thought it could be.
I mean, everyone was comparing him and Shire, and I did too, by the way. Like I said, next 10 years, I want Pope. I still think I like that sentiment. I think this guy is amazing, don't get me wrong, but um everyone was saying, well, if Shire could draw up an ATO the way Pope does, Duke's the best team in the country. If Pope could get a recruit that can go get his own, Kentucky might be the best team in the country. And I think it can work multiple ways, right? Like if Pope could go get a Cam Boozer or Cooper Flag or like all these guys that Shire's gotten, we're not questioning Kentucky. And
Right.
by the way, we don't do NIL at Duke. Friends and family like payments only. You know, what I mean, this is brotherhood. Like we don't do NIL. And Kentucky spent $22 million on a roster and doesn't have either Boozer. They don't have Dame Sar. They don't have Isaiah Evans. They don't have Big Pat. Like the list goes on and on. Like I don't know, man. Like I'm not trying to take anything away from this roster. I think a lot of stock was put into Ortega,
Hmm.
who said himself he's lacking effort. I say this all the time, Riley. When are people going to start to see the vision behind if you tried to go to the NBA and they told you no? You don't want to be in college, and there's a reason they told you no. One plus one is two. Ortega's another example of it. It happens all the time. Like Ortega respectfully doesn't want to be at Kentucky this year. If he's playing college basketball, he wants to be at Kentucky. I'm not trying to say that. That wasn't what he tried to do. Somebody told him no, so he
Hmm.
stuck around and like, but is he going to make the best out of it? It doesn't appear that way at the
Hmm.
moment. He said himself he lacks effort.
Do
You go down
you
the list.
What do
Okay.
you make of those comments? Do you think it's legit, or do you think it's really something that all of Kentucky's issues can be? Maybe let's not say all, but a good bit of Kentucky's issues can be fixed if Otega Owe just plays harder. Or do you think there's more complex issues here, either from a roster construction standpoint, or I would still say defensive standpoint, and even to that, maybe some of the wrong guys getting as many minutes as they are.
I think that's part of the problem. So the reason I say you go to Lambeau, you spend 22 million and they say, you know, then you go to Toyota. The way you go to get 22 million at Toyota is you leave with like 30 cars. The way you get the 22 million at a Lamborghini dealership is you leave with four cars. So you have to, because you chose to spend $22 million at Toyota, you have to play people in bad spots, right?
Hmm.
Like that's the roster you built that's 10, 15 deep. You don't actually want that. It sounds great in the offseason. It sounds great on paper. Give me seven dogs, though. I don't need 12 people that can put the ball in the basket because when you have 12 people that can put the ball in the basket, you really got nobody.
You got 20 Corollas, but you only need to drive 50 miles.
Right,
That's
right,
what that's what he did. And it's
right.
like that goes back to like why I always sort of laugh at the offseason concept that, oh, we have great depth. We're the deepest team in the country. Carolina fans have been so guilty of this throughout Hubert's tenure, and Hubert routinely never plays more than seven guys. I'm like, when are we going to learn we never have depth. Not in this era. We don't have depth.
By the way, Kentucky fans, let's not let Riley get away with that one. North Carolina's seven guys do not equal Kentucky's seven guys.
North Carolina seven. Oh, we will answer this question in Rupp in a month, Dion. I think UNC's top seven right now is playing a lot better than Kentucky's top seven. I think UNC's top one is playing better than Kentucky's. You can go down all 20 of those Corollas on Kentucky's roster, and you will not find someone who can come close to matching Carolina's number one, which might be all that matters.
I
Anyway,
want to congratulate North Carolina on having 20 Hyundai Elantras.
okay, Carolina has like 10 Hyundai Elantras. We don't get me wrong, we have plenty of Hyundai Elantra's on the team, but we at least have some dogs to go with them. Anyway, that was the storyline all offseason was how good Kentucky's depth was, and that it was going to be a roster that had no drop off when you went 12 guys down on the bench, and yet. I think one of the clearest indicators of depth is like how do you do on the glass, and I still can't get over this number because theoretically, it's 40 minutes, and if you have fresh legs you're rotating in there, you're gonna make the hustle plays. Michigan State out rebounded them dudes 42-28. They got
Yeah.
completely punked on the glass, and I think that Kentucky's been good rebounding against mid majors. They got on the glass against Louisville. Maybe that's not going to be an issue that plagues them all off season, but excuse me, all season. But I'm just still looking at what's the minute distribution here beyond just like effort. Sure, that plays into it, but I just can't buy that you're going to go into MSG playing Michigan State and Tom Izzo and not giving effort. Like that doesn't check out to me. To me, that was you maybe underestimated your opponent a little bit, and you got maybe it is an effort thing. I don't know. I'm like, how is your defense that bad, and how are you that bad on the boards? Unless it is tied to energy and effort. Yet at the same time, I'm like, how do you not have energy and effort when you step into the garden? Or is
I
it
mean, Phoenix
just
do it
that
every night. So,
there?
no, I'm just kidding. What's interesting is like we're talking about how deep Kentucky is. I think all those things can be said about State, but State also like plays hard for 40 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's the interesting part. Like you took $22 million and you chose to get an incredibly deep roster. I just think we're seeing that it's easier to match up with a deep team than it is like a front heavy team.
Mm-hmm.
And like $22 million spent on like 5 stars, respectfully, is probably going to go a little farther than $22 million spent on like a collection of players.
Yeah.
And by the way, Pope knows that. Look at the way he's recruiting. Like Pope is so smart. That's why I said like I'm good. Next 10 years I want Pope because he's aware like, hey, I need to be a little bit like Cal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get we don't want the full Cal experience, but Tyron, I know you got kicked out of school. I know you want to play football. All that's great. I'll still take you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I'm
yeah.
okay. I'm okay dealing with all that because he's watching what's unfolding right now. And by the way, the ultimate 5 star is on the way. JQ is the ultimate 5 star. He is the epitome of everything you want in a college basketball player. He's the guy that should be in the NBA, but just legally cannot. It's
That's a
not
good
that they
point.
told him no. Legally, he cannot play in the NBA. You have a legitimate NBA player on your roster. There's very few teams that have that. You know what I mean? There's guys that have like Todd Pettiford. That's not an NBA guy. They told him no.
Mm-hmm.
They told Ortega no. You know what I mean? Like there's guys that Alex Caravan, no. You know what I mean? Like that those aren't NBA guys, right? AJ DeBonta, that's an NBA dude.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Wilson, that's an NBA dude. Cam Boozer, that's an NBA dude. Jaden Quaidman's NBA dude. You know what I mean? The guys that were told no, those aren't NBA dudes. They just like we want them to be. But the NBA said we're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you do make a compelling point with that, and I think it sort of underscores everything I was trying to communicate. Where it's like, I think effort plays a part of it, but it's more than just effort. Like, I still really like this perimeter trio, even if Ortega has not looked anywhere like the player who electrified fans and spectators alike last year. I think this front court is sort of a mess right now. I think Brandon Garrison playing 21 minutes when that clip has just been going viral of him giving no effort and him not boxing out, him not finishing possessions, and just I think generally being a frustrating player. Mo Diabate, I think, sort of gets a little gassed up because he makes some hustle plays every now and then, but he gave you 2 boards against Michigan State. I don't know if you want him playing even 20 minutes a game. You might be more comfortable with him in 15 and helping him play into his strengths. Malachi Moreno, someone who I have loved this year, who I think is the ultimate effort guy, still only give you 4 boards against Michigan State, but maybe it's past time to give him a longer leash. So let's kind of close this out with some predictions. I will say I think Kentucky shakes up the starting lineup for this game. I think Pope hears the noise. I think Pope
Oh,
knows.
what does that look like?
Uh, uh,
Malachi?
yeah, I think Malachi replaces Garrison. I would even put Yelovich in there over Diabate.
Jelly.
If Diabate is going to give me 2 boards in 20 minutes when he's supposed to be the hustle guy, I'm saying I'm putting Big Jelly in instead because Big
I'm
Jelly
gonna
can at least have some offensive skill to boot.
I'm gonna say I think Garrison stays in the lineup. Pope, another NBA guy, by the way. I believe Pope played in the NBA, or at least was on a roster. Um, I think you build your team around what it's going to look like in its final form. I think Garrison next to JQ makes more sense than Moreno.
I'm just so out on the Brandon Garrison experience that I'm
I
like,
agree.
it's
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Don't get me wrong. It's nasty work. But I just think when I look at what this team looks like with JQ, I think Garrison makes the most sense.
I don't want it, but maybe that's what happens. I still think Kentucky wins this game by 30. I think it does a little bit to quiet some fears from the fan base. I'm with you. I'm not out on Pope. I still believe in Mark Pope. I still think this team has the horses to figure it out. I have not lost all hope for it. I'm just very frustrated with what I've seen and their two contests against high major competition to be like, yeah, Kentucky's this is just a blip on the radar. They're gonna figure it out. I think it's deeper than that. But that being said, Loyola Maryland is not good. They're going into Rupp. They're playing a pissed off team. I think Kentucky probably still gets close to 100 points in this one and wins by 30.
Yeah, I think they stomped them out. This is the perfect get back spot. But like, no, there's nothing they can do in this game that takes away from Cal's quote of them not being as far along as he would like. That takes away from Ortega's quote of he's not giving enough individual effort. That takes away from the quote where like they were all yelling at each other in the locker room. Like at the end of the day, like Kentucky fans like fell in love with the team last year because the team fell in love with Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I still think Ortega loves Kentucky, but again, when you test those draft waters, you indicate what you want. I don't think he wants this as much as he loves Kentucky. And then the rest of the roster is $22 million, right? Or however much 22 minus what Ortega got. You know what I mean? Like they're there for the money, right? They're
Yeah.
not there anymore
For the love of the blue
for the love of the
checkerboard. Yeah.
university. And I think some of what the fan base fell in love with this team that luster's gone a little bit, and I just think I don't think you're going to get it back. You have to find a different way to win, and I don't think Pope has thrown a curveball yet. It's been his fastball gratitude that we love it. Blah blah blah. This team don't, Mark. Respectfully, this team don't.
There's no gratitude here. What's the opposite of gratitude? Ungratefulness? Is it really that simple?
I don't think they're ungrateful. I just, well,
We'll go with
well,
ungrateful. Yeah, that sounds
I
good.
don't think they're ungrateful. I don't know. It's I don't know. They just don't love the university. They love
Mhm.
maybe they love Pope. Maybe they love Kentucky. They love the facilities. I'm sure they love Rupp. I'm sure they love the fan base. They definitely love the money. But there's no like I'm just happy to be here. Like Lamont Butler was just happy to be there and would
Yeah,
like dive on the floor for that loose
right.
ball. Um, so on and so forth. But I just feel like this team doesn't have that necessarily. They got to find it. I think they're gonna smoke Loyola Maryland like 103 to like 70.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong, but like there's some bigger issues they have to work on, and hopefully they're able to showcase a little bit of what this team could look like in its final product. But even if they don't, that brother Jaden Quaintance is on the way.